All right, so one of the things I asked you guys to do is to increase the size of the bathroom if you need to do so, and the room if you don't have enough room for things. And so to do that, basically, what you would do is I'm on my, if I go to my level 2 finished floor and I zoom in, you would just move the walls out as you might need. So, for example, if, let me go ahead and get rid of these. Let's say that this wall was not there, it was actually smaller, right? So it was there, and the toilet was more like here, and you don't have enough room to get things in. Then what I would do is I would just take the wall and move it to the edge of the floor, like right there, and then make sure that the grid is aligned to the face of the core. So if I use the align command here and tap my tab key until I get the face of the core and move the grid to there, right? So that guy is correct. And then you can add walls, like somebody was asking, well, we have this extra space here. If I move the toilet, back to the wall here, you have this extra space for the tub. Then I would just put some additional walls in. So here's a couple of walls that I put in to create a little chase for the plumbing. And so to do that, and then I would do the same for the exterior walls too, if you wanted to make it a little bigger. So for example, if you wanted to make this guy bigger, you could align to the face of that floor, the face of this guy, and then of course adjust these, you know, as needed. If you have a V-tack, I'll make this, how about 3 foot? Whoops. Nope. This guy, if I make that 3, right, I'll make it. So adjust things as you might need to get enough space. Then I could move this in and have a queen bed, or I could potentially go ahead and put in a king, if it was big enough for that. Okay. And then the next thing I want to talk about would be each floor plan to be on the same place in the sheets. So if you go to the plan dimensioned here, this plan I want it to be in the same place on this plan as well. So you can see the bottom right hand corner on this one is set to 3 and 3, and then the bottom right hand corner of the crop region here is set to the 3 and 3. So to do that, what you would do is for each of your floor plans that you're using, let me go ahead, which one is this? It's RCP, and let's grab the furniture plan, the RCP, and the dimensioned plan. And let's get those all out. And so what you will need to do is for each of the plans that you're placing on a sheet, so here's the furniture plan, the RPC, and the dimension plan, you're going to have to go to that view, and in that view you're going to set the scope box that is appropriate for that. So I have the scope box 11 by 17 set. And what the scope box is it's this little, I have the level 2 finished floor plan open, and it's this little green box. If I come in here and go to the 3D view, it's actually, and let me get rid of the section box for right now, it's actually 3-dimensional. So that green box in plan is that guy. And then you can also use it to set up your sections as well. So if I close that, what you're going to do is assign the scope box to each one of these plans. So if I click on this, you'll see that one has a scope box, that one has a scope box, and that one has a scope box set. That means that the crop area is being controlled by this guy. So if I move this to the middle, you're going to see all of those update, right? If you don't have something controlled by a scope box, say for example this level 2 finished floor is not, the crop is not cropping and it's not being controlled by the scope box. So down here in your view control bar, you can see the crop view is not on and the crop region is off. So if I turn the crop region on, it's actually quite large for this one. And if it doesn't have a scope box in it, you can crop it using these little blue dots. But if the scope box is on it, it doesn't give you the blue dots because it's being controlled by this guy. So it's being overridden. So basically what happens is you use the level 2 finished floor, which is your working file, to control the scope box, and that gives you the same crop region for each one. And what that allows you to do is go to one of your floor plans, and if you pick this guy, you can move it to a specific place on the grid. Now, to set your guide grid up, this is called a guide grid right here. To set your guide grid up, go to your sheet, make sure you're not selected on anything, and pick the guide grid 1 for 11 by 17, and the guide grid 2 is actually the 24 by 30, or the 18 by 24. So just go to the guide grid and set a guide grid for each one of your sheets, and that will show up in a consistent place. And then you can pick your plan and move it. I'm actually setting it at 3 and 3, so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 up. And that works pretty well. So, and that means that when you print, they'll all end up being in the same place. So when you flip your PDF, that guy will work.